Today we're going to make this fun conversation heart inspired banner. For this craft I'm using my Cricut cutting machine with a fine point blade, a standard grip mat, an assortment of colors of 65-pound cardstock, some red HTV iron-on vinyl, a pair of scissors, a weeding tool, some red ribbon, and then my mini Cricut easy press. You can find a full list of supplies in the description below. When you open Cricut Design Space, you're going to click on the New Projects tab at the top and choose a blank canvas. Close out of that. And then I'm going to click on the Shapes button on the left-hand side and choose the heart. Let's close that. I'll just bring my heart to the middle, and then I'm going to change the color to green to just make it a little easier. With my heart highlighted, I'm going to make sure that the lock is locked up here and change the height to 5. Next, I'm going to add the little holes for the cutout where the ribbon's going to go. So I'm going to click on Shapes again and choose the circle. Close out of that, and with that circle highlighted, with the lock locked, come up here and change the width to 0.15. Just delete that too, and there we go. Now I'm going to just right click on that and say duplicate, because I want 2 little holes, and I'm just going to drag it across, eyeball it, and drop it in there. So the next one I'm going to do on the left hand side. One of the nice things about the latest updates of Cricut Design Space is that it actually shows you when your elements are lined up. You can see the little dotted lines, the pink ones. So I'm going to just drop it there, and there we go. So in order to cut those out, I'm going to do one hole at a time. So I'm going to highlight the heart and one of the holes, and then come to the bottom here and say slice. So now you can see it looks like the little hole on this side or the little circle on this side has disappeared, but it hasn't. It's actually just at the back of this heart. So come across to the left-hand side, highlight the heart and where that little circle is, and then come down to slice again, click on it. And now if you move your heart away, you'll see there's 2 little holes cut out there. You can now go ahead and delete those. And there we go. So the next thing we want to do is just add our text. So click on the text box on the left hand side. I'm just going to bring it up here. So when you double click that, just make sure that your caps lock is on. Leave Cricut Sans as the font and change the size to 85. There we go. So let's double click on our text, and now you can start typing your words. So I'm just going to do kiss, enter me. And as you can see, the line spacing is quite large between the 2 words. So come to the top here where it says edit, just scroll down a little bit and you'll see the line space. So highlight that and just change it to -5. There we go. Now I can close out, and that's more or less what it's going to look like. I'm just going to come to the top here and change the color to red. And there's my first little banner. So depending on the amount of banners that you want, you can now just literally go ahead and duplicate these. So I'm going to just make 6 of them. So I'm going to right click, click on duplicate, duplicate, and 1 more. So there's all my little hearts. So now you can just go ahead and click on them and change the colors to whatever you want. You can keep them all the same if you feel like it. I'm just going to do the classic conversation heart colors. There we go. And then 1 more. I'm going to change it to orange. Perfect. So you can do the same with the wording. So just highlight that, right click, duplicate, and then change the words. XOXO. Right click, duplicate. Be mine. And then 1 more. There we go. So all the red letters are going to be cut out using HTV or iron-on vinyl. And then these will just be on normal cardstock. Now that we have all our designs ready, we can go to the top and say make it. For this project, I'm going to use my mat. and I'm using a 12 by 12 inch mat, and I can say confirm. So you can see there's all my color cardstock, and then this red mat is for my wording. So let me just move it away a little bit, and as you can see, each banner's words will be cut out together. So the only thing for this mat, because it's HTV, what I want to do here is just say mirror, because HTV you always mirror, and I'm going to go ahead and say continue. Before you set your base material, just double check which mat you're on. So for the cardstock mats, what you're basically going to do is you're going to choose light cardstock, 65 pound. If you don't have it bookmarked, just go down to say browse all materials and type in light cardstock, 65 pound. So I'm going to choose that. And then I'm going to leave my pressure as default. I've got the fine point blade in clamp B, and I can go ahead and load my cardstock onto my mat and insert my mat into my machine. Once your mat has been measured, you can go ahead and make your cut. Once your cut has been completed, go ahead and eject your mat and remove your design from your mat. When it comes to my HTV mat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose Everyday Iron On. Again, if you don't have it bookmarked, just go on to Browse All Materials and find Everyday Iron On. I'm going to click on that, leave my pressure as default, and use my fine point blade again. So before I load my mat, I need to remember to do shiny side down and make sure that the mirror button on the left hand side is ticked. You can now go ahead and load your vinyl onto your mat and insert your mat into your machine. When loading your iron on vinyl, make sure that the color side is facing down and the white is facing up. We can now go ahead and insert our mat into our machine and measure it. Once your mat has been measured, you can go ahead and start your cut. You can now go ahead, remove your design from your mat and weed your design. Now that you have all your cutout hearts and your weeded designs, you can go ahead and just turn your mini press onto the medium setting. Give it a couple of minutes to heat up, and then we will iron it on. Once your mini press has heated up, place some parchment paper over your cardstock and just preheat it for about 10 seconds. You can then remove your parchment paper and carefully place your weeded HTV design onto your cardstock. You can now go ahead and place the parchment paper over your design again and just press it for about 30 seconds. The heat settings and press duration will depend on the type of HTV that you use, so just make sure that you actually read through the manufacturer's instructions on your HTV packet. The one that I'm using, for instance, has a cool peel, so I have to wait until it's cooled down before I can peel it. Once you have all your designs ironed onto your cardstock, you can go ahead and take your ribbon and just thread it through. So go from front to back. And then back to front. And you'll just keep doing that until all your little banners are threaded through. And there you go. How cute is that?